this time. We're opening up with our safety and security protocol, and I'm going to ask Ryan, Mr. Green, to provide us those protocols at this meeting. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, President Mills, Mayor Dyer, Commissioners, and Clint. With OUC's commitment to make safety first, we begin each commission meeting with a safety briefing in the event that we have an emergency. We are located at 100 West Anderson Street in the commission chambers on the 7th floor. We have 3 emergency exits, one right over here at the front, one in the middle, and one in the back. If we need to evacuate the building, we will exit to the nearest door and proceed to the stairwell to the left or the right of the commission room at the end of the hall. Our meeting place will be on the surface parking lot under 408. All right, if AED or first aid kit is needed, it is located right here in the closet, the sound closet. I'm sitting right there. I will grab that AED and first aid. Fire extinguishers are just right out here in the hallway. And if we need CPR, we got LaShawn that will help us out with that. Security will be Kirk if we need him, and will assist with responders into the building and up the 7th floor. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, moving along with we're going to ask Patty Dignan to come up.
Good afternoon, President Mills,
Thank
Commissioners, Mayor Dyer, and Clint. As we close out 2025, we pause, not just to reflect on the events of the year, but to consider how we've grown. This year, like many before it, brought both triumphs and trials. Some moments lifted us, others stretched us in unexpected ways. But each moment offered us a choice in how we framed those events, and in its own way, shaped us. There's a quiet truth that we often forget. Not everything that feels difficult is without value. Sometimes the most meaningful gifts come wrapped as challenges. A shift in perspective, a deeper connection, a new strength we didn't know we had. Viktor Frankl understood that in a world that often feels unpredictable, our greatest strength is our mindset. In Man's Search for Meaning, he wrote, "When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves." So often, we can't control what's happening around us, but we can choose how we respond. In that choice, there's power, there's growth, and there's hope. As we look ahead to 2026, let's carry that spirit with us. Let's strive to find the gift in every experience, the opportunity in every challenge, and the light in one another. Regardless of what the new year brings, we have the power to shape our responses and how we show up for our families, our colleagues, and our community. That is a gift in itself. Because the future isn't something we simply wait for. It's something we create together. Thank you, wishing you a safe, positive, and productive meeting, and happy holidays.
Thank you, Patty. That was... All right, next we will move on with our Pledge of Allegiance, and by way of introduction, Derek Hudson's going to lead us in that. And Derek served in the U.S. Navy for 6 years, and in addition to that, he was 2 years Navy Reserve, achieved the rank of lieutenant, and has worked for OUC for 3 years. And if I'm not mistaken, it says you're the public relations manager.
Yes, sir.
So we're honored to have you. Thank you, sir.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks again, Derek. The time is now 2:06, and I call the December 9th, 2025 Commission meeting to order. I'd like to acknowledge that Commissioner Chapin, as many of you know, is not in attendance today. He's probably on a street corner with a sign, "Vote for Chapin." But we're wishing him success in this election that's coming up. But we do have a quorum present this afternoon to conduct OUC business. So our next item on the agenda is the consideration of the November 4th, 2025 Commission meeting minutes. And I'll entertain a motion to waive the reading of the minutes and adopt them as published.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion from Commissioner Gross, and then also a second from Commissioner Gonzalez. And is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion at this time, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. We have no service awards this month, so we'll proceed with the employee and the community recognition. I'm going to ask Ms. Aviles to come and present the first item, which I believe is Proud Volunteers.
Thank you, President Mills. Good afternoon, Commissioners, President Mills, Mayor Dyer, Clint. I'm honored to share, and Queen, thank you for joining us up front. I'm honored to share OUC's Proud Volunteer Program, an update on that, which celebrates the incredible dedication of our employees who give their time, their talent, and hearts to serve the nonprofit organizations in the Central Florida community. In 2024 through 25, 113 OUC employees and 3 retirees reported they donated over 6,000 hours to causes across the region. Their efforts supported 105 different community organizations and events, including OUC-led employee volunteer events with local organizations such as U.S. Hunger, Keep Orlando Beautiful, Florida Virtual Schools, and Mustard Seed of Central Florida. This level of engagement is a true testament to the connection we have with our community. OUC is also proud to help amplify our employees' individual volunteer efforts even further. We promise to make an additional donation to any 501c3 organization that an employee spends more than 24 hours volunteering at, and we'll donate up to $400 per year for the organization. So today, I'd like to recognize our top 3 proud volunteers for 24-25, who together contributed a remarkable 1,646.5 hours of service in Central Florida. It's important. So I'd like to call our top 3 volunteers in their respective order. We are going to start with Andy Ortiz. Ask him to please come up in 3rd place. Our volunteers are going to get a chance to have a picture taking with with Clint and President Mills. So we'll start sharing a little bit about Andy's involvement. He has donated over 404 hours to North Lakeland Youth Soccer. This is the 3rd year that Andy gets recognized as a top OUC volunteer. He got recognized last year and also in 2019. Andy serves as a volunteer board member and youth soccer coach, helping create a safe and inclusive environment where kids can learn and play, and using sports as a tool to guide youth towards becoming positive, productive adults. Thank you, Andy. We appreciate what you do. We'll see you next year. Thank you. All right. In 2nd place, I'd like to invite Ronaldo Porto. Please come on up. Thank you, Ronaldo. He's donated 409 hours to the St. Francis Xavier Cabrini Catholic Church. Ronaldo contributes his time and talents every weekend to support the parish and its mission to serve the Lake Nona community, including helping with its music ministry. He considers his volunteering a profound blessing for allowing him to use his skills to serve others and support the spiritual life of the community. Thank you, Ronaldo. Thank you. Congratulations. And in first place, I'd like to welcome up Brian Wilson. All right. All right. Brian has donated an amazing 932 and a half hours to Boy Scouts of America, Troop 306. Give him a minute here. There you go. Thank you, Brian. So Brian has served as his Troop Scout Master for more than 4 years with a passion for helping coach and mentor the older Scouts into leadership positions. He considers working with Scouts as an investment in his community's future, ensuring the next generation will have practical life skills and a willingness to work together. Thank you, Brian. Congratulations. To all our volunteers, thank you for your time, your passion, and your commitment to making a difference. You truly embody what it means to be a proud volunteer at OUC. Thank you.
Our
Okay,
marathon?
Okay, for me to move on?
Yes.
All right. All right. So thank you again for letting me continue this presentation. It was an exciting weekend in downtown Orlando with our annual OUC Half Marathon. So today I'll be sharing a recap of the impact we had with the event this past week. This annual, I'm going to catch up here on the slides in a second, Francis. I don't have the control. Thank you very much. All right, this annual running event has grown into one of the Southeast top road races with a course showcasing the charm of downtown Orlando as it starts and ends in beautiful Lake Eola. This was its 49th year in existence, and the race has become a beloved tradition for residents, visitors, and OUC employees alike. And it also attracts thousands of people into downtown Orlando to support local businesses. OUC has been proud to be the presenting sponsor of this race for a quarter of a century. We have helped shape it into a unique event that contributes to both our community engagement and environmental responsibility goals. The OUC Orlando Half Marathon has been recognized as the most sustainable race in the Southeast and is known as the only sustainable race in our state. It also has received gold level certification, the highest level attainable from the Council for Responsible Sport. The event has been recognized for its numerous environmentally responsible elements. It includes recycling, waste diversion, sustainable purchasing, and the fact that we help hydrate racers with water by tapping directly into hydrants along the course, which eliminates the need for hundreds of plastic gallon jugs traditionally seen in other races. Next slide, please. Due to the race's growing popularity, Track Shack expanded the event into 4 days of fun. The long-term goal is to raise Orlando's visibility as a racing destination and expand how it supports downtown Orlando businesses. The new, longer event was given this new title, the OUC Orlando Half Marathon Weekend, kicking off with a 2-day expo of family-friendly activities and environmental education, followed by the 2 days of the race weekend. One of the most significant changes, rather than both of the races happening on the same day, the half marathon happened on Saturday and the 5K happened on Sunday. Splitting the races across 2 separate days allowed OUC to double its visibility and brand exposure. It created 2 distinct experiences for different type of runners and created multiple days, again, of impact to the local businesses. Secondly, for runners who were brave enough to take on both races, the new DTO 16.2 challenge was introduced, which attracted even more running fanatics to the event, and we did have a couple of OUC employees take that on. And we'll continue to grow this event into the future. I'm excited to share that news for 2026 includes that the race will be expanded and it will offer a new race division for the intellectually impaired, broadening access and celebrating athletes of all abilities. So that's wonderful. Here you can see on slide 4, if you can move forward. Here you can see some of the photos from this past weekend and OUC engaging with the community. The expanded weekend concepts was a success with a 24% increase in runners versus the previous year. Total of 4,609 participants plus hundreds of their friends and family members were there cheering them on. They overtook the streets of downtown Orlando to enjoy the event and support dining, shopping, and all the other entertainment that's in Orlando. Both races saw increased participation this year with over 3,300 runners on Saturday in the half marathon and over 1,200 runners on Sunday in the 5K. OUC also saw an increase in employee engagement in this, both as racers, with 113 race participants from OUC employees and their families, and also event volunteers. I had the opportunity to deliver the race's opening remarks at the start line and also cheer on many of the OUC employees as they crossed the finish line. I witnessed these two guys coming in first, Kevin and Ken. So first for OUC. The two-day expo before the event took place at the Plaza Live and was elevated with every corner of space being leveraged for interactive experiences. Racers and families went there to pick up their shirts, their bibs. They could spend hours there, including buying running gear, eating at the food trucks, listening to guest speakers, and even donating to Second Harvest Food Drive. OUC was visible throughout the expo in a number of fun, creative ways. We powered the party's outdoor sound system with energy from one of our electric lightning trucks, a unique way to showcase the abilities of an electric vehicle. That was pretty cool. And our interactive tables were busy with OUC employees passing out hundreds of OUC branded tote bags, running towels, thunder stick noisemakers for both racers and their cheerleaders. Our sustainability team was there to pass out trees for attendees to take home. We gave from seedlings to 1-gallon pots to attendees that wanted them. These were favorite giveaways that also underscore the environmentally friendly message of the race itself. In total, almost 5,000 trees were given away for planting, all in support of growing the urban forest alongside our power grid. Those who stopped by around 3 p.m. on Thursday had a chance to listen to OUC's very own Aaron Givens, vegetation manager and certified arborist, speak about the Florida native plants and the importance of planting the right tree in the right place to stay safe around electrical equipment. Continuing into the weekend, we also had a large OUC footprint during the race weekend. At the half marathon race activation space, guests could cool off by walking through our giant OUC chill duct, which is a missing tunnel themed to look like an oversized air duct. This too was powered by our very own fleet EV truck. We had tables with free OUC branded race items, information on OUC's efficiency programs, and more trees to give away at the event. At the race on Sunday, our EV continued to bring the energy, literally and figuratively, as the EV powered the chill duct. Misting tunnel was moved near the Lake Eola Amphitheater, and a second OUC EV-powered truck served as an electric sleigh to cart Santa along the race course to all so they could celebrate with him. So, slide 5, please. As we close out this year's successfully expanded event, I'd like to celebrate by awarding an honorary OUC half marathon to President Mills. President Mills, thank you for your support to OUC and your steadfast encouragement to our team in wellness overall and creating such an impactful, engaging community event.
Thank you.
So please come forward.
I did run track in high school.
Oh my God, that's so funny. Did you really? That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, very nice.
Thank you for that.
Thank you. And if there's no questions, that's good.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Great presentation. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right.
Well, thank you, President Mills. Let me start by turning my microphone on. I'm going to ask for a little bit of assistance here with Commissioner Lamon Gonzalez as we read a resolution of appreciation in honor of President Mills, as today is planned to be his official last commission meeting. Commissioner Mills is in his second term, and his last term ends on December 31st. So with that, I'll turn it over to Commissioner Lamon Gonzalez.
Good afternoon. Whereas the Orlando Utilities Commission, OUC, wishes to express our heartfelt appreciation to Larry Mills, THG, for his leadership and support while serving on OUC's governing board as a commissioner and president. Mr. Mills joined OUC's board in 2018 and was unanimously elected president in January 2024. This position he'll be leaving, unfortunately, December 31st, 2025. He will be deeply missed. Whereas during Mr. Hill's presidency, OUC advanced its Connected 2025 strategic plan and introduced Strategy 2035, reaffirming its commitment to net zero CO2 emissions by 2050. With interim targets of 50% by 2030 and 75% by 2040. Under his leadership, OUC expanded its clean energy portfolio, opening the Harmony 2 and Story Bend solar energy centers, launching a 2 MW floating solar array, and progressing utility-scale solar and battery projects, reaching a milestone where more than 10% of OUC's energy now comes from solar, enough to power 50,000 typical homes. Whereas Mr. Mills helped guide OUC through a period of innovation and modernization, supporting the opening of Florida's first net zero energy utility campus in St. Cloud and the launch of the Robinson Recharge Mobility Hub and the OUC Recharge Mobility Hub at the Orange County Convention Center. He also championed the peak shift pricing modernization proposal to better reflect grid costs and encourage conservation. These efforts strengthen OUC's long-term commitment to sustainability, customer engagement, and infrastructure advances. Whereas under Mr. Mills' leadership, OUC earned national recognition for excellent customer trust and satisfaction, being named a most trusted brand by Escalent in 2025, first in Florida and third nationally. OUC also ranked #1 in the state for electric reliability based on a 2024 data reported to the Florida Public Service Commission. Whereas Mr. Mills' tenure saw OUC deepen its community impact, including helping nearly 11,000 OUC customer households access $11.7 million in energy assistance in 2025 alone, and earning the FMEA Building Strong Community Awards for the 10th consecutive year. Whereas during Mr. Mills' tenure as president, OUC continued to strengthen its culture of employee well-being with the launch of a new well-being platform in 2025 and earned multiple honors, including its 8th consecutive Florida's Healthiest Employers recognition from Springbuk. Is that Springbuk? A Best Wellness Employer Gold certification from Wellness Workdays, and a spot on Forbes 2025 America's Best Employers by State list as Florida's highest-ranking utility. Whereas during the COVID-19 pandemic, Mr. Mills and the board approved a $12.1 million customer relief package, waived disconnections and late fees, and ensured OUC remained a reliable and compassionate utility partner during a time of crisis. Whereas Mr. Mills brought extensive leadership experience to OUC, serving 23 years as Corporate Vice President of Human Resources and Business Conduct at Lockheed Martin, and 32 years as pastor of Mount Sinai Missionary Baptist Church. He previously led the African American Council on Christian Clergy and remains active with the Boy Scouts Executive Council, Central Florida Urban League, NAACP, and Interdenominational Faith Council. In 2019, he was recognized among Onyx Magazine's inaugural Men of Honor. Now, therefore, be it resolved, Mr. Mills' service to OUC's board as a commissioner and president, as well as to the Central Florida community, has made a positive and lasting difference. Be it further resolved, the Orlando Utilities Commission is beholden to Larry Mills, THT, for his leadership, loyalty, and friendship, and extends our best wishes to him. In witness whereof, Commissioner Britta Gross, First Vice President Roger Chapin, Second Vice President Linda Lamon Gonzalez, Orlando Mayor Buddy Dyer, and OUC General Manager and CEO Clint Bullock. Congratulations.
I'm deeply honored and appreciative and just amazed that these 8 years have flown by so quickly and all that we have been able to accomplish. And I must say, I got tired listening to all of that.
Imagine how I felt.
No, I'm deeply honored that you did the research, you guys, and everything. And so, to all of you, we're really thankful. And oh, by the way, let me throw this caveat out. Depending on the results of the election today, you may see me one more month if we are 2 commissioners down. But if not, it's been really a great honor and privilege to serve with each and every one of you. So thank you so much.
Well deserved.
Thank you. All right. We will move on now to the affirmative items portion of the agenda. Mr. Bullock, before we consider, do we have any requests from the public? Yes, sir, we do not. Okay, then we will move on. Do you have any comments or presentations?
Yes, I do, President Mills. I would like to highlight one agenda item for the commissioners here today, and that's A22. I'd like to have Linda come up to the podium. You recall back in July, Attila gave an overview of the EIRP and the moving forward related to the technical and engineering analysis, and we committed to come back and talk more about community engagement and the communication portion that Linda and her team is responsible for. So we're here today, and I wanted Linda to provide a brief overview of that plan as we move forward seeking approval. So Linda?
Thank you, Clint. President Mills, one last time. Commissioners, Mayor Clint, I'm here to talk about A22. Thank you for the tee up, Clint. There we go. So I'm going to talk a bit, just as a quick reminder, what the EIRP is. You're very familiar with it, but just as a quick reminder, how it relates to what I'm up here to talk about today, which is the stakeholder engagement and communications approach. So we'll talk about some things that we've done already, the approach that we're taking with this, the vendor we've selected, and of course, the recommendation that we're going to be making for you. So just by way of background, you're fully aware, but the Electric Integrated Resource Plan, EIRP, because it's such a mouthful, really is our long-term guide. How do we look out into the future and ensure that we are prepared to meet our customers' electricity needs? So we have to do that in a pretty complicated way. And those 4 attributes that you see there along the left-hand side of the screen are the things that we really need to balance. So when we look at our generation resources, that portfolio of ways that we generate electricity, how do we meet reliability, affordability, sustainability, and resiliency? And keep in mind on that sustainability one, we've set that 2050 goal out there with the interim targets that we've set. So how do we keep those rates affordable, and how do we do it in the most reliable way that we can, which is the things that our customers tell us are important. And then lastly, the last bullet on here, we do want to hear on a regular basis, every time we revisit this, every 5 to 7 years, if our customers' preferences have changed for how we do that and how we balance those 4 attributes that are listed there. Before I go on, we'll just remind you that in July, you approved the technical consultants that we're already working with. So there's a few things that we have done already to date. We've done some customer research, which is helping us to inform the planning around all of this. We do continue to collaborate with the technical consultant and the rest of the EIRP team here at OUC. And we have gone through RFP process and selected a third party that we'd like to work with. So I'm going to talk some more about that. For those of you that haven't been through an EIRP, you weren't through this 5 years ago with us. Some of you were, some of you were not. But the objectives of this are really important. This is how we engage the community and ensure that we understand and we're listening to them on what their preferences are. And they provide us all kinds of feedback, but we're looking specifically around those attributes and how they would balance those things and what's most important to them. Times change, economics change, political views change. So we have to regularly listen to our customers. We want to do that in a way that engages the broadest set of people that we can. We want to educate our customers. Because OUC is different from the last utility maybe they had as their utility wherever they moved from. our customers turn over too. We have a highly transient population here, so we need to be talking with them on a regular basis. We want to make sure that we're building trust with our customers, and that they know that we're listening to them. So how do we go about that? The elements that we've defined as the most critical based on our learnings from the last time we went through this are what you see around the circle there. So customer surveys, those get us the broadest set of input from the broadest people. So we always want to make sure that we're surveying our customers. In-person charrettes, a series of those can allow some people to be educated to a deeper level, have more extended dialogue. Same thing with key stakeholder meetings. They may be NGOs, they may be critical business customers, but different types of community groups and customers, having some key meetings with them. And then lastly, a variety of channels that we can communicate with our customers through. So there's a dedicated website, for example, that we want to make sure is available to our customers, always have the latest information where we can respond to questions and things like that. So in scoping out the work that we would like a third party to do for us, what you see here is 4 tasks that we identified. The first one is helping us to design those charrettes, helping us to identify who would be best to participate, recruit those people, and help us prepare the materials that would be necessary to actually educate them, ensure they know why they're there, and conduct those charrettes. And that is going to take us through the winter and the spring of this year. The second task here, you see is all really around the communications element. So what platforms are we going to use exactly? How will we use each of those? What materials will go in each one? Of course, we have our ideas on it, but we really want a consultant that's been down this path before that can help us bring their expertise and knowledge to bear too. The third task is ensuring that every step of the way we're creating materials that we can use and reuse. Those become extreme assets of ours. We leverage them in all kinds of ways, but they also document all the insights, everything we hear in the charrettes, everything we hear in those community meetings, and we're preparing and putting those back out for the public to see as well. And then lastly, task force, just to project manage all of this. So we looked far and wide, as you can see here, and I'm very happy to say that HDR Engineering, Inc. responded to this and was selected. They're a global firm with extensive experience in the U.S. nationally, state, and locally. They're in almost every major metropolitan area around the U.S., and they do a lot of this type of work. So we're thrilled to have them. You can see some of their clients here locally: Metro Plan Orlando, City of Orlando, Southeast Utility Council, and Hawaiian Electric. You know, they've got a lot of utility experience too, infrastructure experience, that type of thing, which is really important for us to be able to rely on. So we're very happy with the selection here. So that leads me to our recommended action. Commission approval for purchase order to HDR Engineering, Inc. to provide community engagement and communication support services for the Electric Integrated Resource Plan in the amount of $289,674. Happy to take any questions.
So moved.
Okay.
I'll take that as no
It's
question.
been, well, let me back up 1 minute. So I gather there's no questions. And your motion was for the approval of affirmative items A1 through A28.
Correct.
Moved by Commissioner Gonzalez, second by Mayor Dyer. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion passes. And thank you for saving my hand. All right. All right. Well, we move right on with the agenda at this point. Ms. McCullen, any financial? We'll present the financials. Thank you all so much for coming.
Thank you, President Mills. Good afternoon, Commissioners. Mayor Dyer, good afternoon, Clint. On the screen, you see the revenue picture for the fiscal year through through November. As you know, our fiscal year starts in October. So the revenue shown on the screen are for the first 2 months of our fiscal year. The October financials are in your board packet, and through October, Revenues were slightly below budget, but expenses were also below budget. So we were pretty much right on top of our anticipated income before contributions or net income. What you see on the screen here, $2.6 million or 2.6% below budget. That's primarily due to a mild start to the fiscal year. We did have a strong cold snap in November, which increased some sales for a few days in November. But so far for the 2-year period, October 1st through the end of November, it's been a fairly mild start to the fiscal year. So we are slightly below on the revenue side, but no concerns at this point. So happy to answer any questions you have. Thank you.
Super. Thank you. Mr. Woody, do we have any legal issues to report? Thank you. Always good to hear that. Ms. Bullock Clint, do we have any members of the public?
We do not. No, sir.
Well, we'll move forward with General Manager comments.
Very good. Thank you, President Mills. I do have one presentation I would like to update the board on. I'm going to have Mike come on up to the podium. It's been a year since the board approved the Peak Shift program, and we thought it was appropriate to give the board a project update on how we are progressing. I can assure you the team has been working extremely hard since that December approval, and more work to be done, but we thought we would do a check-in and share with you some of the accomplishments that have taken place over 2025, give you an update on the project schedule, and then talk about all the things that we're doing in 2026 as we move towards a go live. And so I'm going to ask Mike to give you an update on how the project is doing related to Peak Shift. So Mike?
All right, thanks, Clint. I'm happy to hear to be able to provide an update on Peak Shift today. It's amazing it's already been a year since we were in front of you asking for approval last December, so time has flown, and a lot of things have happened since then, so really happy to be able to provide this update today. Next slide. We'll kind of walk through a lot of the agenda, but just to briefly, a little bit of a refresher on the program summary and the original timeline. We really want to talk about a lot of the great accomplishments that occurred in 2025, some of the deliverables and the customer education. Talk about the timeline of where we were originally and where we are today and some of the considerations behind that. Talk about the go forwards for 26 and some of the funding progression, both some of the things that you've already approved graciously and then some of the things that we'll be looking for come January as well to tee that up. Next slide. So as you well know, Peak Shift at its core is really about reducing peak demand, right, through a variety of different programs. Those foundational, customer-facing, customer education, et cetera, in order to provide the customer the right tools and education and price signals to really optimize the usage and give them that optionality, right, so we can maintain affordability. So if you go left to right here, some of the foundational projects. So these were foundational in the sense that they needed to be done with Peak Shift or without. These are things like what we call load interval reads, interval reads, building quality interface, a lot of acronyms, LIR and IRPQI. But basically what that is we were fortunate enough over a decade ago to put an AMI, the Advanced Metering Infrastructure. A lot of utilities have not. That gave us the ability to collect data on an hourly basis and put that into our systems, our meter data management system. We now, as we go forward, we want to start looking at areas like demand level, shift and save, et cetera. It's pertinent for us to be able to have greater granularity in some of that data down to the 50-minute level. Essentially what those do is take that data, be able to distill it down to 50 minutes, and then provide that interface to the customer and the vendor to be able to utilize that data going forward for the programs that we're talking about here. The center to that, so secondly, we'll talk about Sun Choice. That was our community solar program. That is also complete. That was brought back online for residential customers as of earlier this year. TrueNet Solar, demand level customer tools, that's the core of what we'll talk about today. Those are in progress. So again, TrueNet Solar is our net metering to net billing. We did move forward with the grandfathering as of June 30th or before July 1st for 20 years. Demand levels are fixed distribution charge. That's essentially offset by the variable energy rate, so it's revenue neutral, and we'll talk a lot more about that today. Customer tools, Janice did a great job a few months back talking about the tools and the importance of the customer education variety of tools, bill videos, education on the customer, talking about the analytics workbench, bill predictions, things like that that will really be pertinent going forward as we change some of the structure. And then Shift and Save, which is yet to come, which is our time of day program. Next slide. So this was the original timeline. As we went back, this was shown in December 24 commission presentation. So we did approve Sun Choice as of October 24. We moved forward with the grandfathering. We'll talk a lot more today about TrueNet and demand level. So TrueNet solar demand level originally was pegged for early 26 and Shift and Save in early 2027. This path reflected really an overall framework of the program. I think about it a little bit like almost building a house or putting together a building. You start with your foundation, which was LIR, which was the IRBQI. You then start to determine what are some of the things that I need generally in that infrastructure. And that starts becoming the areas like TrueNet solar, demand level. And then when you get into the functionality of what that house does, you start thinking about your smart thermostats, other things like that become more what we think about as customer tools. So there's different aspects in terms of how you think about the project. TrueNet solar demand level, originally the framework was really about directionally where do we need to get to. As you get into it though, and you really start to understand some of the technology enablement and some of the program designs as we get into requirements, everything from operational requirements to business requirements to customer requirements, technology requirements. We knew that timeline could be adjusted accordingly based on some of the complexity of the project. And obviously rates are brought to the board for approval along with any additional ask as well. So we'll talk a little bit more about today about one, the accomplishments, but two, some of the things that we've needed to consider as we talk about the timeline going forward. Next slide. All right, let's start off with the accomplishments in 2025. We had an all hands meeting last week where we had all the folks in the room that are on peak shift just to really give them a status update and thank them for all their efforts. It was downstairs in the training room. The room was full. But it gives you an indication of how much, even internally, not just externally, internally, how much of this organization peak shift touches. Customer group, operations, technology, every aspect of the organization. It just shows the brain trust and the bandwidth that is required to really lift a project of this magnitude. So it just it was one of those aha moments that says, oh my gosh, it really does involve such a significant part of the organization, which also is illustrative of its importance to the customer going forward. So some of the accomplishments in 2025, we revised all the work streams, requirements, and resources for TrueNet solar demand level. So we went through exhaustively, really understanding all the requirements, system requirements. How do we take all that data, put it into the custom system, put it into our billing, everything all the way to build prints, build design, etc. We created internal, external change management plans and began implementation. Again, I think when we started, we knew there was change management required. When you start really understanding internally and externally how much is required, how big a change this is. Internally, it's everything from how do you train and communicate across customer service, across all the employees that this is going to touch. Externally, it gets into everything from customer education to communications. There's a lot of change here. Demand is not a simple topic. I know people understand usage, but again, the demand and peak demand, people need to be, educated in terms of what that means and why it matters to them and also to the community at large. We completed all the foundational projects that I talked about earlier. And then we revised the program timeline and incorporated aspects of change management, communication, and the customer-facing tools, which is another area of, you think at the beginning, hey, we want to be able to educate the customers, but as you heard from Janice a few months ago, there's a lot to it, right? There's everything in terms of videos, how do you educate them up front, how do you educate them once you go live, et cetera. So there's a lot behind that as well. And then we scoped and gained commission approval for the tools in September, and I think the kickoff took place on December 4th with Bidgley, which is our vendor as well. So a lot going on across the commission on this project. So a lot of great work by the team. Next slide. Deliverables in 2025. So these are things that have already happened. So I won't spend as much time on the program milestones other than the new program for new solar customers we talked about with the grandfathering. The solar battery rebate did launch as well. I want to spend a little bit more time on the right two columns. So the significant community engagement, stakeholder engagement, and the customer education piece. Ongoing. So the center column is really about the one-on-ones that we do, the smaller groups, the NGOs that we engage to better have the community understand why we're doing what we're doing. So everything from government and official briefings to NGO outreach, tours of our innovation lab in Gardenia, have partnered with 7 different NGOs. Community association outreach, so 30 HOAs, senior centers, various different presentations. Some are high build tips and tools, so all kinds of different areas of communication. And then the customer education side, which will be a lot more illustrative on the next slide, but just briefly, everything from what we're doing on our solar programs around TrueNet. You can see some of the areas of communication here. So it's everything from what is peak demand, why does it affect me, the appliance calculators that are already active, many different taglines and kind of communications around pricing, the control, the optionality, some of the things we're doing around solar and smart tools, and then one of our engagements at the Westmoreland community as well in person. So, and I guess I just heard from Becca that we actually went live today. We did a takeover of the Orlando Sentinel webpage as well. So I can't show it there, but you can actually see on here, you have some of our banners and whatnot that are right on the front page of the Orlando Sentinel, just to continue to put out the word, essentially. So, so you heard about all the things that are going on, the extended scope, and really the complexity behind the project. I want to talk a little bit more about some of the timeline change contributing factors as we think about the go forward. So really the first piece, at the top is really about the change from the initial design to final design. As we got into it and really started understanding the requirements, that was an exhaustive process that the team went through to really understand everything, again, from business to operational to customer requirements. The design phase, so you start to think you might have a number of different rate and process designs, maybe a handful. We thought maybe a single digits. When you actually went through it and you started looking at all the iterations. So think about some of the iterations around design, grandfathering versus non-grandfathering. You got to think about prepaid. You got to think about folks that are on TrueNet, but are also going to demand level. Demand level is a 3-tiered structure. So how do you put it, so you're thinking about all the different kind of categories. We came back with 17 different designs that are important. Designs that kind of walk us through all the way through the process and then all the way through build print, build design, et cetera. So that takes a lot of additional bandwidth and time to kind of walk through those designs, which are absolutely critical to the process. And then the resourcing, that goes along with it. That's a lot of that's additional internal resources, that's utilizing existing internal resources for a longer period of time. And that's also adding additional external expertise, which all to some degree delayed or extended completion of the requirements of the design. So what does this mean overall? And we'll talk about it a little bit more on the next slide. What that really means is we talked early 2026 originally for TrueNet demand level. At the end of the day, we really got to get this right. We have to get this right from an internal perspective in terms of all the testing, all the requirements, the design features, and then externally we have to get this right as well for our customers. We need to be able to educate them. We need to be able to make sure that we're ready to go live with these programs. So ultimately, what that means is moving from spring of early 2026 to a November go live date. So it's about a 7-month delay or extension, modification of the timeline. On the next slide, we'll talk a little bit more about that in terms of not just the November, what that means, but also some of the things that will benefit us in terms of giving us the extra 7 months of timeline to kind of get to the go live stage. Next slide. All right, so I talked about the November piece, so that's really kind of October data, November bills, so November 1st. What that also enables by giving us some additional time is a lot more customer education. So if you start on the left in terms of some of the program milestones, the personal bill videos that Denise talked about a few months back, both talking about the upcoming bill changes, but also talking about explaining the new bill, being able to do that a few months in advance. Some of the prepaid customers, some of the customer tools and alerts as well in advance of the go live. The stakeholder and community engagement continues with the NGOs, the government officials in the summer and fall. Additional outreach events that really understand demand, work with the HOAs, nonprofits, partner with the right commissioners. And then various different media outreach as well. We talked about the Orlando Sentinel today, various different communication tools and pathways. And then customer education to continue that as well throughout the year, whether it's on the demand side, really understanding how to control your demand, winter bills, Earth Month, et cetera, and then the coming soon on the demand level as well. Just the expanded websites, there's websites on demand education, there's websites on TrueNet, and then reminders on the TrueNet side around solar, some of the things that are changing as well. So all this really gives us additional time to, again, be exhaustive, get the design right, and be able to go live with our customers as partners in that partnership going forward. Next slide. So the last slide I have here is about the funding progression. Again, we're greatly appreciative of your prior support in this area. We started back in December of last year, went forward a change request for the original project scope, about $4.1 million. In September, we also added some additional, about $1.5 million in project management and solution architect services support for the project, and then the $1.2 million towards the tools and personalized videos. In January, we'll be coming to the board to request approval for some additional funding. The first one is really about the adjusted timeline, about $1.9 million. That's really a mix of internal resources and external support that's ongoing with the project. The customer tools, about $600,000 in change requests for additional enhancements with our vendor Bridgely, plus some additional external labor for testing and project management. And then change management. You heard a lot today about all the things that are going on in the area. An additional $600,000 O&M request to our vendor for additional services, additional resources that'll take us through December 2026. For a total request of about $2.5 million in capital and about $600,000 on the O&M side. So once again, I really appreciate, we appreciate all your continued support of the board on this critical initiative. And again, we want to be able to get this right for our customers, for our community. And this really, again, enables us to reduce the peak demand, give the customers the education, the optionality to make decisions around their usage and optimize the usage, which ultimately will help to maintain affordability for the community. So with that, I will take any questions you might have. Thank you.
So Mike, the off the stage request is to extend it to November 2026 with a capital expenditure of 2.5 million and O&M expenditure of 0.6 million
correct.
increase.
Yes.
Right? That's what we're voting on. All
That's
right.
what-
Commissioner.
So just to clarify, that approval will come in
January.
January.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you are correct in your statement. Yes.
Okay.
Just clarification, is the only vendor involved in all of this Bidgley?
No.
So you have, I can't remember, so there are a
There
number
are
of,
many vendors. So the one for customer tools is Bidgley. That's predominantly, and there's a couple. There's Acceleron. There's some around attic management for project management support. So there are a few different vendors there. And same with the 1.9 million. There are various other vendors, TMG and a few others that are involved in that as well. So it's multiple.
super complicated. Would you say the complexity and the delays that result are because of sort of the complexity of the vendor community? Or no, you're walking through use cases, you're seeing how complex even internally this is?
The second.
Okay.
The second, yes.
All right.
I mean, I think as we got into this, and again, you started with kind of the shell of what you think you want to get to, and then you start working into it. And Lou, Shanice, we've all been through it exhaustively in terms of the various different requirements and the sessions that you go through to get to these different designs. So
Yeah, I'll just say, this is so complicated, and I appreciate a few years ago when the whole customer billing system was done. I don't know, I didn't hear anything back, no, I don't remember hearing any issues. So I trust that you guys, you just go sort of take another step forward, look at all the complexities, look at the interactions of the processes and the systems, and then you make good decisions going forward. So the delays actually don't bother me at all, because a poor execution would be the worst. And so I feel very comfortable that you're finding things. That's fine in my book.
thank you very much.
Lynn, you got any questions?
No, I would just say not only complicated, but truthfully trying to determine on the investment what the outcome would be, as far as, the investment producing what we hope to achieve by doing the peak shift. And I'm sure that's been done somewhere, right, Chris? That to me is the thing that's so big. This is not only complicated and very labor intensive, but it's also a great investment. So again, like Britt, I do trust that that is part of the conversation you're all having. I know that in the end, it's what we need to do, and it makes absolute sense, but it is a heavy lift. And that's
Great comments.
Commissioner Lehman Gonzalez, I agree with your points. And when you look at the expenditures in totality, it is a significant investment for us. As I've reflected on the changes that have occurred in our industry in the last year, the importance of this project has really just increased. The pressure that we will have heard, and will continue to hear from our customers related to affordability is just going to go up. And to be able to point them to options, to be able to point them to tools for those that want to lean in, we will be prepared. And I am very thankful that we are on this journey. I've been out on several different speaking engagements and discussions, and I am really encouraging many in the utilities. We're not first mover on this, but there are some utilities, as Mike said, they don't even have the AMI data in place. And so, as thinking about that statement, I would like to acknowledge King Kishonik and John Hearn for bringing that forward to the board. And of course, the mayor was here and McAllister was here. It was a tough decision, and it wasn't just based on the financials. It was a negative proposition moving forward, but it was the opportunities, as we're talking about here today, it was going to enable us to do things like peak shift and greater education for our customers. So I am appreciative of their courage to help us. But my point is, I'm out there on a platform trying to encourage utilities. You've got to start with your plan. It's bigger than designing rates. I come from rate design. I understand how important and hard that is. But changing the billing system, getting the bill print, getting the AMI data, there's just a lot to it, and people need to start going now. And I'm appreciative of the support of the board from last year to help us get to this point. And I know it's going to pay dividends for OUC and our customers, and we just appreciate your support on this. So, excited about the update. There's been great things that have happened in 25, great things that are going to happen in 26, and the team has worked really, really hard on this project plan, and I know we're going to deliver.
So I wasn't going to mention this, but I will anyways. The education part is critically important, not just the education for the customers, but for the community as a whole, because during this race for Roger, some of the folks that have been on the other side have presented peak shift as a rate increase. No further explanation, but so that's out there, and we need to overcome that.
Yep, you're right.
Thank you. All right. Any other questions? All right. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
All right, well,
President, I do have one or two more items, if that's okay.
okay,
President Mills, I do have some things I'd like to read to you.
go ahead.
No, I'm just kidding. Actually,
He wants more.
she did a fantastic job. I'm really not sure what else to say. But I will say, just from a personal standpoint, we came into this together. It is hard to believe it's been 8 years since I became the general manager and CEO, and you became a commissioner. We came into this together. I just want to thank you for your courage, your leadership, your support for the employees, and your support for our customers. I appreciate your passion. I appreciate our one-on-one conversations as it relates to OUC from a business standpoint, but I also appreciate the personal conversations, about my personal side that you were helpful for in our counseling. So I do want to say congratulations. Thank you for 8 years of great service. Again, there were some very exciting things that happened under your leadership, and I just want to thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I want to say a happy and safe holidays for each of the commissioners, and excuse me, and just say thank you for all your services that you've done throughout the year. we go through our ups and we go through our challenges. But we do thank you on behalf of all the employees. We thank our commissioners for the work and supporting us as we try to move forward together. So I do want to thank you and wish you a happy and safe holiday and Happy New Year. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, commissioner comments?
Thanks to all the volunteers, even those that don't get, one of the top 3 awards. That's wonderful to see the community spirit here. I love seeing those awards. I think I've said enough on the other stuff that's just so easy that anybody could do that stuff. And maybe just, Larry. Larry and I talked a few years ago and started to realize we had so many touch points. I mean, if aerospace careers, Detroit, Germany. We both lived in Germany at different periods. I think the list keeps going, but it's terrific to have worked alongside you here. You are such a generous spirit, but you're so conscientious about the role you performed. I just loved working with you here, from sort of technical depth all the way to, of course, using and leveraging your HR background, which was really phenomenally important here, but also all the way through to the community outreach aspects and affordability, conscientiousness. And I just appreciated every moment of working with you here. We were lucky to have you. Thank you.
I just want to say that those 3,300 runners or walkers or somewhat walking, somewhat running went past my door on Saturday morning. It must have been pre-dawn when I started to hear, "You can do it, come on." In front of my house was the cheerleader. So I'm like, and then I said, it's the OUC half marathon. It was wonderful to watch, all 3,300 of them. Apart from that, also, I want to just say, I think that we can't underestimate how we show up in community, either through races or even a banner in the Sentinel, whatever it is. We are top of mind, and I always feel very positive about that investment. The only other thing is I agree with the mayor on not just the education of our customers, but the community at large, and even within the industry. I think we're on the right path here, but we have to really continue, because I don't think we're not doing it, continue to do our due diligence to ensure that that happens. And you, sir, I remember when you interviewed me virtually for this role, you were very stern. I'm like, no, what is up with him? But, however, your sense of humor, your kindness, your warmth, you have a great sense of humor. You don't hear half of that. But he's just really been a joy and a pleasure to get to know you a little better and to be here under your watch. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mayor.
So likewise, I want to thank Pastor Dr. President Mills for his service on this board and friendship over not just 8 years, but I don't know, about 30 years, I suppose, somewhere in that range. But I served on somewhere between 10 and 15 boards. So I've seen a lot of board chairs and a lot of ineffective leaders of a meeting. So no one else has complimented you on your ability to lead a meeting, but that is an important aspect of being a board member, especially when you're the chairman. So you chair a very good meeting as well. So I appreciate that. And I appreciate your 8 years of great service. Thank you for the update on the EIRP. I always want to say IERP, but EIRP, as well as, what did we just do? Peak shift. Sorry, I was thinking about Pastor Mills' great service and peak shift. And we're now in the holiday spirit, so lots of great things happening. We lit the Christmas tree for the city of Orlando on last Friday, so downtown is the place to be for the holiday season. We have Eola Wonderland around Lake Eola, the Merry Market, the Grinch's Lair. We have a fabulous Grinch if your kids are into the Grinch. And then this year, for the first time, Dr. Phillips Center has the Front Yard Holiday Festival. So if you can't find something to do for the holiday season in downtown, you're just not looking. Right. But I wish everybody a happy holiday season.
All right. Well, opening line of Tell the Two Cities. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. It's kind of emotional thinking and hearing all of this and recognizing that this may be the last time we chair or see many of you. Best of times, this time of year, and the great reports that we've heard, I feel we leave the organization in a better spot than when we came in. And that makes me feel good about your work, the board's work, and Clint as our leader. And so I'm indeed humbled and grateful for all of the accolades, warm words, and gifts that we received as a result. And I want to tell you, they say time flies when you're having fun, so we must have been having a ball because it seems like these years went by very quickly. So thank you all again for allowing me to lead you. And I again would just say, don't lose the momentum that you have going into next year with Peak Shift and some of the other events that we have. And please continue that volunteerism. It speaks volumes. And a program we were just at, I committed to the mayor, state of the downtown, as a matter of fact. Just to give you feedback, I was introduced to a gentleman, and they introduced me as president of the board for OUC, and he immediately replied, OUC. I never say OUC, I just say the reliable one. And that made my day. I'm like, wow. So it's working out in the community and everywhere, and you continue to be the reliable one. And happy holidays to all, and just allow me to be me. Merry Christmas to those who can associate with that. So I appreciate you all. Be safe out there, stay focused, and without objection, this meeting is adjourned at 3:07 p.m. Thank you all. Yeah. All right. Okay.